We are the blockchain blockheads, the crypto clowns, and the DeFi doofi. Well, let's face it, DeFi is a big deal as Ethereum finds its sweet spot. And today we welcome Brian Kerr of Kava Labs to the show to discuss all the beautiful ways you can earn interest on your cryptos with decentralized finance. And who doesn't like interest? So unless you're uninterested in interest, you will be interested in how interesting our discussion with Brian will be on our super interesting episode number 518 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Who's bad?
This is already shaping up to be a very interesting show, Sir Lord Travis, right?
It is. You guys are not familiar with what DeFi is. If you're not familiar with what Kava is, you're going to want to listen to this episode because we really dive in to Kava and how they impact. It's a platform for financial institutions to really, utilize what's on their balance sheet. Like if they have a big fat balance sheet and they're just sitting there, they're not earning interest on that in the traditional banking world. But with the right DeFi platform, they can actually stake some of their crypto and some really nice interest on top of that. So imagine if like Tesla, that 1.5 billion Bitcoin or $5 billion, what would it be if they were to stake some of that and earn interest on it? That's what they should be doing. And if they're not, they're not. So we're going to talk about Kava. They are an integrated suite. For a few months, I was working with Kava to help them out on some marketing stuff and connect with some other influencers because I believe in what they are doing. We were compensated for this particular interview. We only work with the top tier projects. And if you have a project that you'd like to get out to our audience, let us know. You can always email us at badcryptopodcast@gmail.com. But we only work with a very few. I think it's less than maybe 10% of the people that reach out to us that we find. We only work with top-notch projects. And this one, in my mind, is amazing.
And before we get to that, if you're an artist, illustrator, designer, or animator, Anytask.com is looking for artists like you to join their new NFT category. Believe us, the NFT space is explodifying. And this is a great way to use your skills as an artist because the Anytask platform is looking to grow this category and meet the demands of all the buyers that want to create NFTs. Go check them out today, badco.in/Anytask. And now, let's get to this very interesting interview with Brian Kerr. As entrepreneurs, we know full well that we often start down a certain road and end up somewhere completely different, and discovering that the things we learned on that path help prepare us for where we are right now. And I think that's probably the story of many of us, as well as our guest Brian Kerr, who's the CEO and co-founder of Kava Labs. He got into crypto by way of esports, and now he is kind of a big deal. He's the chief cook and bottle washer at Kava, which claims to be the most trusted DeFi platform by financial institutions. So we're going to talk DeFi, the entrepreneurial journey, and other crypto blockchainy things. Brian, welcome to Bad Crypto.
Thank you, man. I'm really excited to be here. I'm a huge fan of your guys' show.
What brought you into, how did you get into crypto via esports? That's what I want to know.
My good friend Alex was, he built the largest Russian esports organization called Navi, Nadiskonseri, and he started a project called D-Market along with this other guy, Vlad, out of Kiev. And that was the first decentralized marketplace for video game items. It was an early Ethereum ICO. Shortly after came Wax and some other platforms. But D-Market was one of the first on the scenes in the space. And they said, hey, Brian, you're doing gaming stuff. You're in the US. You're based in Silicon Valley. We want kind of some help and advice for how we take this platform to market. And they asked me to be an advisor. And I really watched them take that from PowerPoint to production in just a number of weeks. They raised $20 million. It was just like mind-boggling to me. I built a company with real revenue and real products and worked my buns off, and to raise $20 million was no easy feat for me. And then they did it with a PowerPoint presentation in this weird crypto industry. So that gave me the electric shock that told me I had to look at blockchain technology and see what's going on here, because it was definitely nothing like I had ever seen before.
Yeah, it's a whole new world, isn't it? It's a different beat.
It really is. And I just, as soon as I started getting into it, as soon as I started seeing the power of decentralized technology, how censorship can be removed, how middlemen and the taxes and fees they charge can be removed, and how putting power in the hands of the people was possible with this, I just got so excited. I knew I was going to dedicate the next 10 years of my life to it. And I put everything I was working on aside and just dove straight into crypto.
Yeah, it's like they're making money over here in this crypto world, and algorithmically, and this seems like it might be a great space to be in. And so you co-founded Kava with Scott Stewart, and you guys have been working on this bad boy for a while. How did you guys meet, and how did the idea of Kava sort of come up? And then maybe give the folks a rundown of what Kava is.
So we met actually really funny at a meetup event that was about SEC reviewing cryptocurrencies way back in I think it was 2017, early 2017, and he was working on a blockchain platform that he was just starting in the ideation that was more about ads. He came from the ad tech space, and he wanted my advice and feedback on it. We started talking and riffing back and forth, and quickly that evolved. It was sort of on a whim. He said, "Brian, I need your help. We're going to go to Zurich and review things of the Ethereum Foundation setup over there. I really want your input." And at that point, I was like, "Okay, maybe this guy's actually serious and he wants to work with me." And kind of on that trip, we became really good friends, and the company formed shortly after, and then we set out to do something. And kind of the finance space, and well, it was payments at that time, but finance overall was the biggest white space for blockchain technology to be applied, and it's the place that we knew we could have the biggest impact. So we set out to build products for that.
What did you want to do that was different from what you saw? Because the DeFi space, certainly getting crowded and lots of competition.
Well, first we started off with payments at Kava Labs, and that was horribly wrong. That was the wrong decision. We even raised money from Ripple and a bunch of crypto VCs. There was no token in that product. It was just about building a non-custodial wallet. We connected up Lightning Network. We built DAI payment channels. We allowed people to swap between assets all within their wallet, kind of like Shapeshift, but without the need of a centralized counterparty there before DEXs and anything else in the back end were taking off. But what we realized was that payments and kind of that use case was growing a bit too slowly to support a fast-growing company, and that's really what we wanted to set out and build. We wanted to build something fast-growing, disruptive, transformative for the financial space and the kind of world overall. And what we saw, just pragmatically, was that there was a huge demand for financial services around crypto assets and exposure, not payments, but actually holding them in a portfolio, getting utility out of them. There was proof with MakerDAO enabling people to use ETH as collateral and mint DAI to get levered Ethereum positions.
Mm-hmm. Was that the aha moment when you saw, like, wait a second, look what this because all these cryptos are trying to do payment stuff, right? It's like, wait a second, MakerDAO's doing something interesting, and it really does. It really sort of opened the door for it was like an aha moment for a whole lot of people, I think.
Well, yeah, but also back in 2017, it wasn't just payments. It was like there was dentists on the blockchain, there was property, there was all sorts of things that people were trying.
We interviewed these guys from a company called Ecotech or something. Eho something.
Yeah, it was Ehotech.
Ehotech, and it was basically Fitbit for horses on the blockchain. I was like, why in the hell do you need this to be on the blockchain? He's like, well, because we're raising money. I was like, dude, go to Churchill Downs and find some rich Colonel Sanders looking mofo for some fun. This isn't even on the blockchain.
Phoenix from the ashes of all the other things that weren't the right product market fit. And it showed that there was demand for that kind of product, for that type of financial service. And we actually got a bunch of meetings with Ripple, who was our investor, saying, hey, we actually want to figure out how to use XRP as collateral. What can you guys do? We were more of a software and development shop at that time. And we said, okay, let's crack at it and see what we can build. And what we built was effectively effectively operate as a XRP sidechain that provided the same services that MakerDAO did for Ethereum. But once we designed that architecture, we realized actually we could make this into a generalized platform that could host a wide range of financial services, different crypto assets. And shortly after, we announced the vision of the Kava platform and launched our first lending app with the first asset BNB. Millions of dollars started flooding in, and we were the first cross-chain DeFi platform in production that went out in the world, and we're trying to continue basically trailblazing the space.
That's great. So what would you say that big vision is, right? Because you look at the website, as a fully integrated suite of financial products for crypto that allows users to lend, invest, and earn with crypto. It's like basically allowing people to be their own bank and lenders and all kinds of services within that, right?
Oh yeah. The thing that I like to harken onto is that what the power of cryptocurrency is that people can then custody their own assets. They can send payments anywhere in the world, and they remove all the needs of a bank or a custody provider or some middlemen to tax and censor what they're doing. But the trade-off that you do is if you remove things like banks out of the picture, you don't have that normal counterparty that provides you financial services like credit, like money markets, like high interest accounts. And so there's this huge need for Bitcoin holders, XRP holders, whatever asset you're holding. You don't have access to these services yet because they just haven't been built. So what we're doing at Kava is we're building a suite of financial services that we're packaging up in one API that can easily be integrated into any app where users hold crypto. And then in a few clicks, those users can then deploy their digital assets into high interest accounts and start putting their capital to work.
You mean I don't have to settle for the 0.25% interest that my bank might be giving me?
I mean, you can. That's up to you.
It's absolutely insane. Like, why would anybody, want to put their money in a traditional bank account? This is the official website right here for those who are watching our YouTube channel. You can see it's at kava.io, and you can begin just by clicking Explore Kava, and it will take you right into the various financial services. You can you can get a credit card now? Is this through you guys? Or is this
you can use whether it's Swipe or the Binance credit cards. You can hold Kava assets and spend off of them. I think particularly interesting is our USDX stablecoin, which you can store in your hard money market product that we have available on the Kava app, earn 20% APY on it, but then spend it just like you would US dollars anywhere. And I think it's currently supported about 30 million merchants worldwide.
You know what I think is really cool, Brian, and that I don't think a lot of people know, is that if you go on Binance or if you go on Huobi, you guys are connected with them, and somehow you are their DeFi solution on their in-app, right? Like if they're on the exchange and you say, all right, I want to do some DeFi I want to borrow my money or stake my money or whatever, Kava is the solution behind those platforms, correct?
Yeah, so we have integrations with Binance, Huobi. We have it with BitMEX. Well, Ascendex is their new rebranded name. We have a number of partners around the world that have just extended what we built, which is financial plumbing and services for these new digital assets and the economy around them. And
financial plumbing for these digital assets, that's beautiful.
People like that. I think plumbing is kind of a dirty word, but I think of Mario. I'm a gamer, so plumbing comes to mind.
It makes sense. It's because it's the underlying foundation for what's needed, and plumbing is like a perfect metaphor for that, because you can take this water from over here and move it over here, and you can take that and right. And
it's all about routing people to the right opportunity and giving them what they want when they want it.
Yeah.
And it is financial plumbing in that regard. And I think what we're building is really the back end. And another way to phrase it is, there's Intel inside for computers, where Intel is really powering Apple computers around the world. They're powering PCs. They're a core component of what it is. I think for the retail user experience, whether it's at a bank or a crypto app today, our goal with Kava is to provide that financial plumbing and those services that those users need. But we aren't going to be the front-facing interface for them. I think we will be for the technical users, which are fine custodying their own crypto, but that's only 10% of the people who hold crypto today. the other 90%, they're not comfortable testing their own keys. They rely on Coinbase or Binance or whoever to do that. So we want to make the integrations nice, seamless, and easy, and directly to users where they live and where they want it. And that's on the crypto trading apps today, but in the future, it's going to be PayPal, Fidelity, Square, and other apps that are enabling users to buy and sell crypto.
DeFi integrations with CeFi, with centralized finance, right? And so say, for example, you know, if people are able to earn money on their cryptos, like what about a big company like Tesla or MicroStrategy? Like they just acquired a whole metric F-ton of Bitcoin, right? And from what I understand from chatting with you guys and working with some of you guys at the team over there, is that people are able to actually take their Bitcoin and earn interest on their Bitcoin. And if you're a big company that you actually have some holdings in some pretty substantial amounts of crypto, then that could be a really wise thing for you to do to sort of to loan that out or to stake it, right?
I would say if you're a big company, if you're a treasurer at a big company, it's your responsibility to put your capital to work and maximize what returns you get while minimizing the risk.
Right. And like Apple has like trillions of dollars or something sitting there in their coffers, and they're not. What are they doing with it?
Yeah, they got billions of dollars, and there's going to be, I think, much larger acquisitions of assets going forward. And you know, I wouldn't say that they would deploy all of it, but very sizable portions they should be putting that to work as part of their treasury strategy. And I foresee that they will. I think that depending on their jurisdiction and the compliance requirements that they have, there'll be slightly different adoption curves for each entity. But we already see very large centralized players integrating Kava on the back end and weaving us into their treasury strategies. So I think it's only a matter of time before we start seeing, you know, whether it be Tesla or MicroStrategy doing the same.
So what's the next big move then for Kava? Because you guys are really just getting started here. You know, the integration of financial services, it's a big financial world, and there's a lot that can be included.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's so much to do. We have a really aggressive roadmap, but we've built out a team. We've even acquired a development studio called Crank Studio recently to scale up what we're doing. But where we started was a single app.
Did you call them Crank Studio?
They call themselves that.
Oh, that's
when
great.
We acquired it. They're now Kava Labs.
They're gonna crank things up. I love it. We're cranking it out. That's good.
So what we started off with was a single application blockchain that was our collateralized lending app. But we then launched the hard money market product, so that enables borrowing and lending. We are currently in development of AMM, an autonomous market making protocol. So users with whatever asset they have on Kava, whether it's BTC, XRP, BNB, whatever, they can swap between them seamlessly. And users can deploy capital to make those markets and earn returns. And then following that, that'll probably be about a 4-month development cycle for us to deploy. And then following that, we have a robo-advisor, which will then be like a set it and forget it, risk-adjusted product, where we'll have the lending app where you can earn a return, the money market, the AMM product. The robo-advisor will allow someone to just take, you know, a bucket of BTC, pop it in there, choose what risk and parameters they want it to operate in, and based on market conditions, the robo-advisor will move that capital from one bucket to another to make sure that they're earning the best returns over time.
Wow.
And then just to put the big picture on it all, we're wrapping it all into one API. That the API calls are things like borrow, lend, etc. That makes it really easy for a big application like, or whether it's Coinbase or Binance or, as I said, these larger enterprises going forward. They just need to do one integration and they get the full suite of all the different DeFi services that their users are going to want. And that's very different to, say the Ethereum world where they would have to do 100 different integrations to get the same thing. So we're trying to make it really simple, both for developers and then the users that they can extend those services to.
It's beautiful. So I want to ask about this because I know there's the Kava platform, right? And then there's the hard token, right, which is sort of a hard money kind of a thing. And then there's which was like a money market type of stuff. And there's some other tokens that are going to be built on top of this with the ecosystem. And then I believe a swap app potentially is on the roadmap as well. We're going to be doing some swaps. Maybe talk about those different tokens that are within the ecosystem and why they're important and what people maybe need to know about them, because I don't know a lot of people know that Hard is connected to Kava, and then there's some other ones that are coming out that people might need to be aware of, because it seems to me these are some pretty sweet potential investment opportunities.
So the model that we have is very unique, and I wouldn't say that you'll find something similar around the world yet. This new technology and how we build these systems is quite new as well. And the best way to think about the various tokens is we have the Kava platform. It's layer one. It's the infrastructure. It's oracles. It's cross-chain bridges. It's the validators, making sure everything's safe and reliable. That's the base level governance token of the platform. Then with Hard and any other financial services like the AMM or Kava Swap is the name that'll have Kava Swap, and then the robo-advisor going forward. Those will all have their own individual governance tokens, but those governance tokens only control the parameters of that financial service. And the reason why we do this is each governance token, it's rewarded to users in a fair way of each application and service. So we really put the power in the hands of the people that use each application, and then they have a say in the ongoing evolution and direction that each of those goes. So for example, if you're a Hard token holder, you can vote on what's going to be the next money market facilitated. Right now, or XRP, but maybe the world wants to have Dogecoin and be able to earn interest on Doge, because that's not possible anymore. So that would be something that the Hard governance group could vote in, and then it could get adopted on the application or the service layer. But it's all supported by the Kava platform and the infrastructure layer there. And how we're doing the rollout to make it fair and equitable to everyone involved is that with each new application and financial service that we deploy, we make sure that 20% of the total distribution of those new tokens, so we did this for Hard, we're going to do this for the Kava Swap, and we'll do this for the robo-advisor, 20% is actually given to Kava stakers over time as a reward for supporting the infrastructure layer that all this is running on.
That's nice of you.
Well, it's all about fair, and it's less about nice, and it's much more about making sure ownership is fully distributed, because there's no value if these are centralized.
Yeah, well, it's loyalty, right? It's rewards. You're staking your tokens with us, and you're going to get a piece of the action back here, and that's why we stake, right? We're helping support the system, and in exchange, we get goodies. We get nice presents.
Not only that, Joel, check this out. Like, They were doing your Kava 5. You were launching your new launchpad, and you guys didn't upgrade because you have to have the community to vote on it. So you guys can't even upgrade some of your stuff without the community buy-in, right? How does that work? Because I thought that was completely fascinating.
So Kava Labs is a development shop. We build the software. We put things up on GitHub. We market and start proposals on the blockchain, but we actually run none of the validator nodes ourselves that actually operate the software. It's entities like Binance and Huobi and Deltec Bank. They're the financial institutions that run these validator nodes. And anything that happens, like a major network upgrade, any type of parameter shift, it has to be ultimately voted on and adopted by the group of Kava holders. And we're a minority share. We have a big say as Kava Labs because we made the platform. But ultimately, it's up to the 100 businesses or the 100 validators that are in the voting group that can decide the fate of Kava